It's not as tall as we know it can be, especially with the rain that we got. You know, I'm a little surprised that it's not as tall as it was, but maybe they did some good mitigating here. Okay, we're gonna get a drop. We've got those flames close by. Again, watching this air tanker kind of make the rounds, trying to see the best place to drop down. But then people on the ground here who, again, are choosing to stay, scooping up water from their swimming pool, grabbing the garden hose, trying to dampen this area in hopes that it won't catch fire.
Have you talked to this gentleman here?
I haven't talked to them quite yet. Let me see if they'll speak with us. Can we grab you for a quick interview? Come on up. He's going to come and talk to us. Oh, let's see. Wow.
Oh, that was a nice drop right there.
Just got an up-close drop.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was real close. Perfect. That's what we want to see, especially close to these homes here. Let's see if this gentleman's going to speak with us.
As we're looking at the engine there, this is Riverside County Fire. Cal Fire is also on this as well. I know, Nick, you're trying to wrangle an interview. I mean, do what you can within reason. I don't want to make your job harder than it already is. You've got to pay attention to the elements up in the air and on the ground. It should be noted, as we've talked about, the seriousness of the winds. Santa Ana winds are blowing. There is a wind advisory in place. These were forecasted winds. We knew that this Santa Ana wind event was coming. I mentioned it earlier, you know, dry conditions out there. And it looks like brush clearance has been heated here in this particular neighborhood. That's great. It's not too, I mean, it could be a lot worse. So a remote area nonetheless. There are quite a few homes. All right, I'm so happy to report that. The big picture now, that's Sky Fox.
Marla, I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, Sky Fox is overhead again.
Yep, Sky Fox is overhead again with live pictures.
Christian Vias.
Christian Vias.
And Christian, what are you doing here?
Trying to stop the fire from reaching our house. Trying to help you guys as much as possible.
And when you saw the flames, what were you thinking?
I was like, damn, this happened about 20 years ago and we had to do the same thing. But we were younger and we couldn't help out. But now we're old enough so we could help out.
So you've got the garden hose. I see, you know, someone grabbing a bowl of water from the pool.
That's my little brother, Michael.
You see flames right there. What are you thinking as you're looking at it?
Shit sucks. We got to save our house.
Do they plan to leave?
Are you concerned that the flames are going to get closer?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And in that case, are you going to leave?
No.
You're not leaving?
No, me and my little brother are still going to stay here and try to make sure the fire don't reach our house.
It's got to be a little scary.
Not really.
All your neighbors seem to have left.
We've lived here the longest, so.
Well, see, there you go, Marlene. There are some people who are choosing to stay here.
The professional crews, though, sorry to interrupt, but the professional crews are there to save their home, and they could end up getting into the firefight.
We're even done being built.
You know, you got the firefighters right here in front of your home. That's got to make you feel a little safer.
Yeah, for sure. It makes me feel a lot safer.
So why don't you leave it to them?
Because we could help too. I want to be a firefighter, actually.
Have you talked to the crew?
I haven't. I've been dealing with this right now. But that'll be really cool to be a firefighter.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
You're welcome, man.
You know, again, your fire crew right in front of the house here, stationed and ready to fight and protect the home, but people still wanting to stay behind and do what they can, or what they think they can, to protect their own homes. Certainly not the recommendation that the fire crews or the sheriff's department is giving. Especially, we've got eyes on the flames right there. It's got to be scary knowing your home is right here, but that's what the professional firefighters are trained for. They spend the majority of their careers training for this exact moment, especially here in Southern California. These are the best guys to fight a brush fire right here in our region. That's why they're here. So you've got to, really wonder, do you want to stay when you've got these trained professionals who can knock out that fire in a faster way than your garden hose can? But people want to stay behind and do what they can. I understand it, except it's really dangerous.
I'm really glad you pointed that out. And yes, I can certainly feel for Christian and his younger brother, the fact that they've lived there, he says, the longest in this cul-de-sac area in Moreno Valley. Nonetheless, that is the firefighter's job. and you can just compromise the firefight if, in fact, you do end up staying behind. So that's just a concern, a big concern, which is why it's a mandatory evacuation. Obviously, Christian and his brother wouldn't be the first to not listen to a mandatory order to leave. We just hope that it works out in the end and that they don't compromise the firefight and they are okay. So we have Skyfox live up, and this is a live picture, beautiful shot. Maybe we'll see a fire retardant drop here of this air tanker cruising along over the Springs fire, 1,500 acres, 0% contained. The firefight is well underway as we approach the 3 o'clock hour. We are on the Fox Local stream, bringing you the latest here. The best news that we can report, and we hope to continue reporting this, is that no structures have been lost. Yes, there are plenty of neighborhoods that are under mandatory evacuations and warnings, but so far, those flames have not compromised any of the structures down below, and there are many tight-knit communities down below, and Skyfox has shown us those pictures too as we've been on the air since basically this erupted in the 11 o'clock hour. This started on Gilman Springs Road, hence why it's called the Springs Fire. It's being fought on the ground and also in the air by Riverside County Fire and CAL FIRE themselves, other agencies involved. You're seeing the charred land there. There are two main water resources where those air tankers that are dropping water can get that water, and that is Mystic Lake and Lake Paris. Very close water resources that they can lean on in this firefight, which is just wonderful. Great resource, of course, us here at Fox 11, but then also the Watch Duty app. They update the information often. I'm logging on right now, and you can see evacuation order where those are relevant and where the evacuation warnings are as well. Well, as we approach the 3 o'clock hour, we will get ready to jump on to linear TV in Southern California. We are with you on the Fox Local stream. We will continue to be with you on the Fox Local stream, but in less than 10 seconds, we will reset and you will get the nuts and bolts. At 3 o'clock, we are following breaking news. We're jumping on the air, breaking into regularly scheduled programming to bring you the latest on the Springs fire that erupted 4 hours ago in Riverside County in Moreno Valley. It started at about 50 acres when the numbers first came in. It has now since exploded to 1,500 acres in just a short amount of time. Probably that number is higher. We've been reporting 1,500 for quite some time now, so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get updated acreage in terms of how many have actually burned, how many acres have burned. We have crews there on the ground, and then we have Skyfox up above. I want to let you know right out of the gate that no structures have burned, but there are mandatory evacuation orders in place. One of those is where Nick Garcia and Gino Arias, photojournalists behind the ground camera there, are. That neighborhood is under mandatory evacuation order. That is on La Costa Alta Drive. Great resource if you're just learning about this is Watch Duty. They have each neighborhood laid out that is under a mandatory evacuation order versus an evacuation warning. If you're in a warning zone, it's right now is the time to get that go bag ready. You see the white smoke there. There are some active flames along the ridge on the ground shot here on La Costa Alta Drive. These homes that are in the foothills neighborhood where Nick is, those flames are getting a little closer to this neighborhood, but there is a ground crew, as in fire crews there, waiting for those flames to approach. In case they do, they will be ready. Nick, paint a picture for us. We're now on Fox 11, so people who have just joined our coverage, let them know what they need to know.
Right. Well, you know, if you're into that evacuation order, like this street that we're on, La Costa Via Drive, you want to get out as soon as possible because, like we mentioned, there are active flames. I'm going to point photojournalist Gino Arias back towards the ridge there. You can see some flames. We've seen those flames moving down in the last 20 minutes or so. We did just see kind of the 1-2 punch. We saw 2 air tankers back to back dropping retardant. Their chief concern is these houses right here. So they're dropping as much retardant around this neighborhood as they can to protect those homes. Again, Marla mentioned no structures have been burned yet. We're hoping that stays the case here on the ground in Moreno Valley.
And by and large, you've found that most people who live in this neighborhood have heeded the call to leave, but there is at least one resident, maybe you've seen more, that they say, we're going to stay to help protect our home, which is not advised. Let me make that clear.
There's a handful of people.
Not advised. So it's not just that one home.
There's a handful. There's a few homes, people who have chosen to stay in this cul-de-sac. Most of them have left. You're looking at an ambulance right now. It looks like, I was wondering why that family was staying so long. They've been packing up for a while. It looks like they were waiting for some medical assistance for a loved one who was inside who needed that gurney. So he's been loaded into that ambulance there.
Right.
So certainly first responders here doing what they can to help. And that's why that family has been sticking around on this side. We spoke with the residents across the street who have decided to stay. And a few people down the road who are waiting, they say, until they see flames. Well, I've seen flames on that ridge right there. So I'll try to catch up with people down the road later and see if they did leave. We certainly hope so, because it's dangerous. The firefighters are here. They're here to protect these homes the best they can. That's what they're trained to do. That's what they're wanting to do. They want to save these homes. So really, the best thing is to heed the precautions. These homes that we're standing in a driveway of a house. There's a couple houses to my left and my right. They've all left. They've gone to either the evacuation shelter or to a loved one's house because those flames are getting so close.
And that leads me to, thank you so much, Nick, to the information about the evacuation order zones and shelters that are currently in place. We can throw that information up. This is a look sort of at the conditions that are underway. 80 degrees right now. As we look at the day planner for Riverside, there is a wind advisory in place as well. This is sort of what you can plan for the rest of the day. Nonetheless, those winds are the #1 issue when it comes to fighting these flames. We know that. We saw that in the LA County wildfires almost a year and a half ago. Right now, as we work to get back this picture, let me just tell you that there are evacuation shelters in place. Valley View High School in Moreno Valley is an evacuation shelter that you can resort to. Valley View High School, that's on Nason Street in Moreno Valley. If you have small animals that you need to take somewhere, there is the San Jacinto Animal Shelter Avenue in San Jacinto that is open and willing to take your pets if you need a place for them to go. Here's that information. So once again, evacuation shelters in Moreno Valley, Valley View High School on Nason Street, San Jacinto Animal Shelter. Do we have the evacuation order zones to throw up there as well? Okay, we're working on those. In the meantime, a great resource is, because there's many zones that have been put under evacuation order and warnings from the Riverside County fire departments, and they are listed very succinctly on the Watch Duty app. If you're thinking, well, that doesn't help me much. Well, unfortunately, I would name off names, but they're just listed as zones. So if I listed all of these numbers, it would probably just confuse the situation. You probably don't know what zone you live in. I certainly don't. So please, watchduty.org is a great resource for that. We'll work to get that information up on the screen for you. In the meantime, we have two perspectives here, the ground camera, smaller picture, upper left. Both of these are live. Skyfox up and over the charred land, 1,500 acres at last count per fire officials. The wind is what's driving these flames. They have air resources and they have ground crews out there as well. This ambulance was there to be able to transport somebody who needed a gurney. So that is why you're seeing that. We as in Nick and Gino behind the camera, they talked to one of the couples who lives at the end of this cul-de-sac who was heeding the call to leave. And they grabbed all the important things you're supposed to grab, including their mother's ashes as well. And that was quite the moment. So that is something to think about if you're in evacuation warning. Please get your people and pets ready to go, your prescriptions, that's the other P, your papers, your important documents, personal needs, whether that's, food, water, grab what you can, and then the priceless items like someone's ashes, photos, mementos, family heirlooms, things. If they're easy to grab, make sure you do it. We heard so many stories in the Palisades and also in the Altadena areas from the Eaton fire where people thought that they would return. And let's hope that all of these people are able to. But in the case that you don't, it's important to grab the things that are most important to you that cannot be replaced. Just keep that in mind as we now zoom into this ridge here and you see all of that white billowing smoke. That leads me to this. There is a drift smoke advisory that has been issued for this area. This is from CAL FIRE. It says that the fire is putting off a whole lot of drift smoke that can be seen and smelled throughout the northeast and southeast portion of Riverside County. So Riverside, Jurupa Valley, Menifee, Wildemar, Lake Elsinore. I'm sure you're feeling the effects of the Springs fire. So if you're immunocompromised, this air can really, really be bad for you. So keep that in mind. Shut your windows so that you can stay as safe as possible. The air quality is certainly not good. It's pretty horrific right now. And this is the reason why, as we're seeing all of that smoke across the Moreno Valley right now. But with that said, I'll take this smoke over just a scene of active flames. We haven't seen a whole lot of those active flames. Earlier we did. Right now, as Skyfox is up and over, we're seeing more of that white smoke. So that, I will say, is a little bit better of a view than just to see those flames take off. They've already certainly done some damage on the hillsides there, but that is a remote area, not populated. It's the base of those foothills where all of those people live and call home in Moreno Valley. All of those people under either an order to leave or a warning to get ready and get that go bag ready. 3:09 in the afternoon. If you thought you were going to jump on and watch Dateline on this Friday afternoon, we are bringing you this latest breaking news from Riverside County, the Springs fire that is now at 1,500 acres, probably more, 0% containment as crews are on the ground and in the air working to contain these flames. Nick, I'm going to jump back to you. I've talked long enough. Paint a picture of what it's like down there on the ground.
Well, we're going to move and look a little more east. This is closer to, we're still on the same street, La Costa Villa, but this looking east is where the fire originated, Gilman Springs Road. You can see all this dark smoke. This just happened just the last few seconds of this big cloud of dark smoke, which certainly is concerning. We see a lot of the white smoke. That's what we want to see here. Certainly, it seems like the retardant is doing its job a little closer to the homes to the west of us, but looking east, a lot of black smoke moving this way. That's got to make me believe that there are some flames just on the other side of that ridge there that could be encroaching on these homes. Again, this house that you're looking at right in front of us with that blue trim, that is the home of the people who have chosen to stay and try to use their garden hose, use a bowl, filling water from their swimming pool to dampen the brush and maybe protect their homes here. But that black smoke coming really, really close, that's concerning here. Certainly the crews are in place here for exactly this reason, but we've been seeing a lot of white smoke. We've got a big cloud of black smoke now, so that's a concern.
It is a concern, and that's why it's important to have the ground crews behind you. So for people who are just seeing the crew behind you, they are there for worst case scenario.
Yes. Yeah, they're ready to go. They've been watching. They've been going into the backyards of the homes here to make sure things are moving as they hope and that there aren't any flames. So they've been keeping a close eye. You know, you mentioned that couple that grabbed the ashes. This is one half of the couple. He's returned. It looks like he came back for, there's the firefighter, but it looks like he came back for some more items. Now he's in his backyard trying to get a better look at how close the flames could be getting to his house. That's Mr. Green over there in this backyard getting video. It looks like he's going to speak with the firefighter. I'm sure the firefighter is going to again remind him, hey, you want to be safe and not stay behind too long. We've seen him return a few times to grab some other items. We certainly saw that earlier when we were live on our live stream. I just saw him grab some more files, and now he's in his backyard getting a closer look. Let me try to see if there's flames on this ridge here. I don't see any, but there is some darker smoke. Let me see if this is not. It's locked. I'm not trespassing. I spoke with him earlier. It is locked. I would get in there if I could. Let me see if we can get a little closer here. Just want to give you his perspective, because this is one of the homeowners here who is evacuating, certainly concerned about his home. He tells me he's really leaning on his faith right now and hoping that his house will survive this. They do have a place to go, but he has come back to grab some more items. We're going to get up here, Marla, and talk with Mr. Green again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were on their way to their sons in Corona.
As he's trying to get some video. Yes. Mr. Green, you're back. What brought you back? You had to grab a few things. Can you come a little closer? He's grabbing a couple things, he says, but also he's got his cell phone here. We all got those handy cell phones that grab great video. What are you recording here?
Just the fire, how close it is to my house. You know, this is like, you know, serious, you know.
It's gotten closer.
Yeah, it has. But thank God that we don't have a lot of thick trees and all of that other stuff, so they may be able to slow it down, you know.
We weren't seeing flames for a while. Now we are. What are you thinking now that you see those bright flames?
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is, God, please save our homes. That's it, you know. And in some ways, I'm confident that the Lord will do what I have prayed for, you know, that me and my wife, that it doesn't take our home, you know. So that is something that you know, that I am praying for and believing and trusting, and I have confidence in Him, and I'm just believing, you know. So, you know, and we got, you know, the firemen out here, and I know they'll do what they need to do to make it happen, you know.
I saw you speaking with one of the firemen. Can you share what he was telling you?
I don't remember speaking to one of them. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Green, thank you so much. You get to safety.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you. Again, we've seen Mr. Green here return a few times for different items that he may have left behind. Get untangled here for you. But certainly, you know, he's here to make sure that it doesn't get any closer to his home, but these firefighters are here to do just that too. You know, they're keeping a close eye on that flame. They're watching it just as we have been for the last few hours, watching the flames come over the ridge there. They're certainly in position, and they'll be ready to let the crews know in those trucks parked in front of these houses that they got to pull the hoses out and get to work here. So they're certainly anticipating it, but hoping that doesn't happen.
Nick, we appreciate your coverage. It is 3:15, and we are covering the Springs fire, 1,500 acres so far, 0% containment, Moreno Valley and Riverside County. For one shot from Skyfox up above, we were seeing some thinning white smoke, which was very nice to see. We should report, and this is key, no structures have burned. The fire has been burning for the better part of 4 hours so far. CAL FIRE's on it, Riverside County Fire on the ground. Many areas under evacuation orders and warnings. Again, no structures have burned, no injuries to report. Meteorologist Star Harvey is joining our conversation because we know that there is a wind advisory in place, and we know how significant of a part that wind can play when it comes to any sort of firefight. Star, what do we know about how fast these winds are going?
Well, right now across the area, we do have winds that could potentially reach up to 60 miles per hour. And I'm going to get to this specific area. We are, tracking the fire over the Moreno Valley area. We did have this high pressure system begin to move in for us as early as yesterday. And it is going to continue to impact us, not just through the area today, but moving into our weekend as well. Now, as we draw in a little bit closer, one thing to point out is that we do have some of those clouds in place, allowing for some of those temperatures to not be as extreme as they could be. Right now, across the Moreno Valley area, those temperatures are at 78 degrees. It's feeling a lot more like 73 out there, but take a look at that humidity. Those numbers are fairly low, in the low teens right now. And we do have a sustained wind. It's kicking up out of the northeast, and it's moving at just about 10 miles per hour. But we we do have a gust in the area close to about 20 miles per hour. Now, outside of that area, you'll see we have a lot of heat packing in as we move through our Friday afternoon. We do have those 80s in place. We also are tracking those temperatures over the Inland Empire region, where we do show that this fire is currently burning. So bringing you in on some of these winds that are gusting across that area right now. We do have two bullseyes on our map right here. This is just indicating where some of our stronger winds are located. So that fire located near the 60 freeway. And you'll see is near the 60 freeway, we'll see those winds pushing across the area. San Bernardino, we have our model tracking here about 35 miles per hour. That is pretty significant. And we do also have our winds. You'll see, we can't miss up there near the Sandburg area, moving at about 45 miles per hour. Now, I went ahead and tracked these winds out through the rest of this evening to see if we were going to have any improvement. I can tell you that we are expecting that the gusts will become calmer as we push into our later half of today. But again, that does not take us out of our advisory. So at any time, these winds could decide, even with our models indicating that winds are expected to become a little bit calmer, could pick back up. So those wind advisories, again, are in effect through this evening. I do expect that they'll be extended across the weekend, because that is how long we're expecting the Santa Ana winds to stick around. They're going to remain moderate to strong through today and potentially into tomorrow as well. This is a look at our 6 p.m. hour, where we do show across the Moreno Valley area. We do have those reds kicking up. So it is just indicating that the winds are going to be pretty gusty out there. Again, we are potentially seeing those winds moving at about 45 to 60 miles per hour. And Marla, it's also important to note that pretty dry brush out there. We haven't had any significant measurable rain in about the last month or so.
Tinderbox conditions. I've seen those headlines across various news outlets, and that is what is so concerning. Sky Fox bringing us these live pictures. You have the extreme nav technology. That means that we could see exact location where they are pinpointing our coverage. So you have the CAL FIRE chopper making its way through the smoke there. We have the ground crews down below now. At one point, you see the crews down below, and they are hand crews, and they're trying to get a containment on this. So when we talk about 0% containment, that doesn't mean that no progress has been made. No, it means that there is that effort underway. Containment means that you literally have lines around the scope of the entire fire. So that can take many days, as we know. This is one of, forgive me if this is Lake Paris or if this is Mystic Lake, but this is where that CAL FIRE chopper is going to refuel, if you will, and gather more water. We are just now getting an update on acreage. This doesn't surprise me. It has jumped from 1,500 to 2,800 acres, just like that. 3:20 in the afternoon, this is the first update we've received in terms of the number of acres burned in at least an hour, hour and a half. So it went from 50 acres this morning, about 11 o'clock, when the flames broke out on Gilman Springs Road, hence why it's called the Springs Fire, to 1,500 acres. That was maintained through the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock hours, and now we're at 3:21 to be exact, and it has now jumped to 2,800 acres. The lead agency, CAL FIRE, Riverside County fire crews down below. The active flames, courtesy of our chopper, and then also the ground crew there in this particular neighborhood in Moreno Valley along La Costa Via Drive, where Nick Garcia and Gino Arias have set up. That is one of those areas that is under a mandatory evacuation order. That's one of those dozers. So this is one of those vehicles that can help with the containment process. So we have the fire retardant that is dropped from the air tankers, and then we have the dozers that will literally doze so that those flames cannot go beyond particular areas. The vegetation to Stars Point, it is very dry. That's exactly what these flames love, unfortunately. The wind makes this even more precarious. That's what drives these flames. So as you heard from Star, they can go up to gusts of 60 miles per hour. This high wind advisory, or warning rather, high wind warning is in effect through tonight. They will die down, as Star mentioned, but it still won't get us out of that warning zone. So they will be significant. just keep that in mind. And this gets even more intense once the sun sets. That doesn't happen until the 7 o'clock hour tonight, so we still have some time to go. The best news that we can report is that no structures have burned.
Right. And, Marla, I want to touch on those winds again. While we are expecting that, our winds are going to drop off later this afternoon and into the evening, it is important to note that we are expecting that they'll return later tonight as well as tomorrow. So again, that's just something, a forward warning there. We're going to see tomorrow's winds probably gusting about 5 to 15 miles per hour, lighter than what we do see today, as we do have that upper support, and it is going to weaken for us. So some good news for the atmosphere there. But again, we are going to hold off with the wind advisories past today. That's what the National Weather Service is stating. Again, I do anticipate that they'll go right back into effect, being that we are going to see those winds moving into tomorrow become more significant again. Now, the main thing for tomorrow is that the temperatures are also going to jump up several degrees in most of our areas, and we're expecting those highs for tomorrow 5 to 15 degrees warmer than today in most areas, if not all, and that is going to put this area, the Inland Empire, but also portions of our valleys with temperatures in the lower 90s, but potentially the upper 80s as well. Again, those advisories are in place until 6 p.m. Today. And again, Marla, it's going to be really interesting to see if they'll be completely lifted, as we do see those winds are going to die back down a little bit later today.
We can hope so.
Yes.
We can hope that they are lifted. That would be a signal for maybe, it would help the firefight. Nick Garcia, you're on the ground there. Is Mr. Green, is he still perusing his property?
Mr. Green has left, thankfully. I hope that he's finally gone on to go to his son's house, which is, again, where they're going as their safe haven amid all of this, because those flames are getting pretty close to their home here. We've been giving these pictures. We've been giving these pictures here. You see the hand crews up on the hill here, again, putting out hot spots where they can. We have seen flames move closer, really hoping that the retardant does its job here and keeps those flames away. But we've seen, again, all this dry vegetation here getting burned up. There's some flames just right there, straight ahead, that the hand crews are trying to get over to. So certainly that's what they're there for. They're getting a handle as best they can. In addition to the air resources, we've seen several drops here, not only of water, but in this particular area specifically, we've seen a lot of retardant. You see that bright pink along the hillside here. They've done several retardant drops to try to protect these homes. Again, this neighborhood tucked right here up against the foothills here, which is where now we're seeing the flames come in.
Well, I'm glad that Mr. Green has gone on, and I'm really glad to see that most of the residents in this neighborhood have heeded the call to leave. Again, this is a mandatory order from fire officials. It's not a recommendation, it's a mandatory order. Nonetheless, we always see these, unfortunately, in these firefights, that some people don't heed the call. They want to stay behind. They just can't find it within themselves to leave. We can understand that, but the problem with that is you can end up compromising the firefight and making things worse, and that could be a life or death situation for you. So if you're in an order zone, we do hope that you heed the call. If you're in a warning zone, we do hope that you have your go bag ready and are ready to heed the call. So this wide shot from Skyfox shows you some of the charred hillsides there. You can see the footprint of some of the fire retardant that was left behind. Even in Nick's shot, you can see some of the pink behind him on the hillside. It's always a good thing to see. The light smoke as well from Skyfox, as you're seeing some of the streets there from our technology that's able to put out the overlay of the neighborhood and the streets that are down below. Nick, as you made your way there, you were seeing people already leaving. I want to touch on the fact that we're not seeing what we saw in Pacific Palisades, where the mass gridlock. Sure, it was busy, but there wasn't outright gridlock from what you saw.
No, I didn't see any outright gridlock. Thankfully, people were packing up really in this area as soon as they were seeing the smoke and getting those warnings before it was elevated to an order for this particular neighborhood. I saw people already packing up, getting what they can into their cars and getting out of here. So I didn't see that intense gridlock like we saw specifically during the Palisades fire last year. But yeah, as you mentioned, the pink, right here, all this retardant we've seen off and on up on this hill here where those hand crews are working, the flames, they'll die down and then they'll pick back up once they hit some fuel that they want to burn. And there's certainly a lot of fuel out here for them to burn. So thankfully, as you mentioned, Marla, a lot of these people are heeding the precautions, are heeding these mandatory warnings. Here we've got some good flames right there, in getting away from here and letting the firefighters do their jobs.
All right, Nick Garcia there. Oh, you do see the actual firefighters there with the hose up on the ridge. That's the first time I've seen that. Nick, have they've been out there for some time? I guess I just didn't see them earlier.
Yeah, they've been out here. We've seen them kind of in the top of, with so much smoke a little while earlier, they were really just silhouettes from our vantage point. But now that some of the smoke has blown away, you can really see the hand crews there putting out hot spots. We saw some flames there. They've got their hoses and they're cutting line as best they can to try to get some containment on this. Like you said before, just because we were at 0% containment now doesn't mean that they haven't made any progress. That gives you an idea of the progress that they've made here, certainly putting out these little hot spots as they get closer to these houses. Hopefully they don't get any closer than that there on the ridge, but those firefighters are doing their best getting the hoses there and also digging line.
Well, it's also, good. I hope this isn't a false peace of mind, but the wide shot that we're seeing, for your own knowledge, Nick and Gino from Skyfox, is just really thin veil of white smoke across this area right now. That doesn't mean that, we're in the clear, but it's not. We've seen scenes that are much, much more ominous and scary. So we're just seeing this light white smoke across the valley floor there with the neighborhoods down below. I don't see any active flames from the current view from Skyfox. So let's hope that that means that, the firefight, the crews are getting a handle on it. And we can report good news still that no structures have been burned. So we'd like to see that. Nonetheless, you see the immense footprint of all the charred land there. 2,800 acres have burned since the flames broke out just over 4 hours ago on Gilman Springs Road. This is the Springs fire. Evacuation orders in place. And I just want to let you know we are going to jump off Fox 11 right now and return you to your regularly scheduled programming, but stay with us on the Fox local stream. We will continue our coverage there. It is 3:30, and I'm Marla Tejas in the Fox 11 studios in West Los Angeles alongside meteorologist Star Harvey. Together, we are watching the Springs fire that broke out just over 4 hours ago in Moreno Valley in Riverside County. Springs fire has now burned 2,800 acres. You're seeing some of the aftermath of what it has done there. It's nice to see. It looks like a golf course there. That is okay, but that black charred land, the damage has been done. No structures have burned. That's the best news that we can report. No injuries to speak of. Whole lot of white smoke at this point. I would say that the fire crews have done an excellent job so far. And they're up against it, though, Star, because the conditions are ripe for any sort of flames. And we knew this was coming. You forecasted a Santa Ana wind event.
Yeah. We've had these advisories in place since earlier this week, and those advisories do continue to be a high wind warning, where we could see through this evening those winds gusting as high as 60 miles per hour. And then we also continue with that wind advisory. And again, that's in effect until this evening as well, where we could also see our winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. Now, it's important to note that we are expecting our Santa Anas to drop off later this afternoon and into our evening hours. But the bad news is that they are going to return. They'll return late tonight and into tomorrow as well. Now, if this is any consolation, the winds for tomorrow, they're going to be gusty. But generally speaking, I'm forecasting them to be about 5 to 15 miles per hour lighter than what we are seeing today. Now, the National Weather Service is holding off on their wind advisories for tomorrow, as the decrease may be enough to keep most of this area and the surrounding region below that advisory level. But again, at most, it would be a low advisory if it does go into a place. The main thing for us past this afternoon is going to be the fact that those temperatures are going to be driving up moving into tomorrow. Temperatures are going to be jumping several degrees in most areas. The Moreno Valley, Inland Empire area included, areas east of LA, our valleys, but also some of our deserts, expected to see our temperatures in the 80s as well as the 90s. And then we're not getting any of that slow cooling until we arrive at next week. And, this is pretty far off, but Marla, we are dry right now. We do have dry conditions out there. It's important to note how fast and how far we can see those embers, traveling with the dryness out there. We haven't seen any of that significant rainfall across the area in about a month. We did see some lighter rain earlier this week, but again, most of us saw under about a tenth or 2/10 of an inch across the area.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot that it rained a little earlier this week. We've really been on that roller coaster from Mother Nature. Wide shot here of the Springs fire. It's better to see all that white smoke than to see a whole lot of active flames. 2,800 acres, 0% contained. While we're showing you this, I want you to note that there is another fire burning. This one, though, is not in Riverside County. It is in LA County near Santa Clarita. This is in the Acton area, so this is northwest of where we are, where our live pictures are. But I just want you to know, if you're watching us and you're thinking, well, hey, we have another fire to talk about, and I live in Santa Clarita and I can see some of the smoke there. This is, it broke out on the 5,000 block of Soledad Canyon Road in Acton. And, oh, we do have some video of it. Okay, very good. So this is actual video of what is being called the Crown Fire. This is in LA County. This is in Acton. You see the flames there. How big is this one? Not nearly as big as the Springs fire. This is noted to be at 280 acres. This one has 20% containment already, so that is good. It's still good to see that white smoke. We welcome the white smoke. We don't want to see those active flames. So this is the Crown Fire in Soledad Canyon, Acton area. You see it has air resources as well. Let's see, in terms of, there is one evacuation order in place for a particular neighborhood. There are evacuation warnings in place for other neighborhoods, but so far it is a small area that is under a mandatory evacuation. The rate of spread, it is considered a low rate of spread, so that is good news, of course. In that we saw the heavy winds in Riverside County, and now in Acton, a slow rate of growth here for the Crown Fire. And you saw some of the air resources here. Again, video from not long ago of this brush fire, the Crown Fire that broke out in Soledad Canyon. Meteorologist Star Harvey, how do the winds compare here? Are you up to speed on that?
Absolutely. I went ahead and checked on those conditions across the Acton area. The wind gusts right now, they're coming in at 32 miles per hour. And so with those temperatures right now, they are cooler than what we are seeing across the Moreno Valley area, coming in at about 69 degrees. So with those gusts pushing through at 32 miles per hour, it is making it feel a little bit cooler out there, but don't be confused by that. Close to about 70 degrees. As we take a look at our sustained winds, they're currently pushing out of the east-northeast, which is significant in just letting us know that we do have that active Santa Ana pattern out there, those sustained winds moving at about 22 miles per hour, and the humidity out there, it is rather low as well. It is currently in about that to 12% range. So dry conditions out there. The temperatures are a little bit cooler, but still warmer than where they are typically at. And then we are seeing those winds gust across the area.
Okay, well, we appreciate that update there. Let's go back to the Springs fire in Riverside County. Again, 2,800 acres contained, or burned rather, 0% containment. This is a live picture from Skyfox. There are some active flames and the darker smoke, the heavy billowing smoke there. This is along a ridge. No homes in this picture there. Good news there. No structures have burned, no injuries to speak of. You see a body of water down below. There are two main bodies of water that crews are leaning on today. That is Lake Paris and also Mystic Lake as well, where we've seen actual refuel, if you will, of those gallons of water in those air tankers. That's always a good sight to see. Plenty of places under mandatory evacuation orders, and our Nick Garcia is bringing us the story from there on the ground. Our ground camera there, upper left corner of your screen from Gino Arias behind the camera. We've seen a neighborhood evacuate already. Some people are choosing to stay behind. That is not recommended. It is something that can end up compromising any firefight. But so far, all residents have maintained their safety. There is this does not, I think when we think about these wildfires that are popping up, we think about LA County wildfires that were just absolutely devastating. And this is not that, and let's hope it doesn't turn into that. The wind conditions are not nearly as strong, thank goodness. They are strong, but not nearly as strong. And then in terms of being able to get out and heed those evacuation orders, Nick was reporting from the ground that, yes, there was some traffic trying to get out, but people were doing so and doing so in a safe manner, unlike what we saw almost a year and a half ago in the Palisades and also Altadena, not to forget about Altadena too. Those were just so devastating to those neighborhoods. So far, so good as it relates to this. We've been on the air for basically since it started. This was in the 11 o'clock hour. Nick, anything new to report? It looks like over your right shoulder, some big billowing black smoke, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I was going to give you a look at, Marla. You saw a little bit of the flames. Gino was giving you an idea. You can kind of see there's still quite a bit of flames that keep popping up there. But over here, which again is the area where the fire originated, Gilman Springs Road is back that way. You can see a lot of that smoke billowing. We've seen white smoke, which certainly is promising and good to see. But then we've seen this dark smoke as well, which of course indicates that there's a good amount of flames still right there. The wind died down for a little bit here. There was still a steady breeze, and there still has been. It's picking up again right now, but we weren't getting as bad of gusts in the last 10 minutes or so as we have been for the majority of the day. Right now, it's picking up again, as I said, as you see this dark smoke coming over from that hill there. So this neighborhood right here, and specifically this street, really perched between these two hills, fire coming from two different directions. Thankfully, these homes right here, the people have already evacuated, but there are still some houses there where people have stayed behind. Again, hoping that, the fire doesn't get any closer, but we're seeing it coming from two different angles. Thankfully, the flames are moving away from the houses over here now, and let's hope to the east of us that the flames don't come over that hill as well. But what you're looking at here, again, as we said before, hand crews are here putting out as much flame as they can, but there's a lot of fuel, and we've seen the flames catch onto more vegetation and growing a little bit right there. You see that white smoke, which is good to see, but that's certainly more flames over there.
And the two engines that were propped up there in the cul-de-sac where you are they still there?
Yes, they are. They're still here. They're in front of these houses here, so we know that those engines are ready to go, fully staffed. There's lots of firefighters ready to jump into action if the flames get any closer to these houses. So that's certainly good to see. We've got these ones staged here. I've certainly seen in other neighborhoods that we were driving through earlier, engines getting in place close to houses just in case, because we're seeing how close they're getting here. Lots of pink retardant, which is good, but those winds, again, have been so gusty today, which is why it's not hard to believe that this has exploded to 2,800 acres in the last few hours. And it really grew quite quickly. Here we've got some air resources here. Let's see if we're going to get a drop right here. That's again where we're seeing those darker flames. Thankfully, as you mentioned before, Marla, those two lakes are so close by. It's really helping with this firefight. They're not having to look far for water. Let's see if we're going to get a drop. We've seen several, not just water drops, but as we said before, retardant, especially making a perimeter.
There it is.
Perfect. That's what we like to see. And thankfully, like I said, right now, I don't want to speak it into existence and then have the winds pick up, but the winds have died down a little bit right now. And thankfully, as windy as it has been, it hasn't hampered the air attacks at all. So we certainly like to see that. There's a water drop right there. We've seen more retardant drops. And again, those lakes are close by for that chopper to go and refill and hopefully do another drop here.
That was, well, great camera work by Gino there, capturing that water drop. It's far away. He was able to zoom in. Thank you, Gino. And then he was just doing the windmill to give us a sense of the winds as well. So we appreciate you, Gino. We appreciate Nick there. And yeah, there is another chopper. Will we get another drop?
I think we're getting another one, Marla. We've really been seeing this 1-2 punch here, not just from the water, but also the retardant. It's like bam, bam, hit it twice, hit it fast, and hopefully prevent it from spreading anymore.
That makes
Thank you, Gino.
the difference.
Excellent camera work from Gino Arias here. Yes.
Okay, well, now we have you in the smaller box here, and then we have Skyfox up and over, and it seems to me that the white smoke is really thinning out, and I don't see active flames from here. It doesn't mean that they're not there, because we know that they are. I'm going to bring Star Harvey back in the conversation, and you just heard Nick say, I don't want to speak into existence, but for now, the winds have died down just a little bit.
Yes, and it's very possible, you know, that we'll see that happen throughout our afternoon here. So while we do still have that advisory in place until the 6 p.m. hour now, it's within that window that we could see our winds pick back up. Now, what I can tell you about the gust, for anyone that doesn't know what a gust is, those wind gusts that I'm reporting on, gusts are short bursts of winds, and they usually last for about 20 seconds or so. And so the peak gusts today that we've seen so far across the Moreno Valley area at about 19 miles per hour. To put things into comparison or perspective, yesterday our top gusts were just at about 12 miles per hour. But again, because this area in particular is across the wind advisory, or is in that wind advisory, we could see those winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. That's nearly twice as high as what those top gusts are that we've seen already in the area. So it is good to see that the winds are coming back down, and as we do or in this moment come back down. But as we do get through the rest of this evening, that is what we're expecting to see. The trend is that our Santa Anas are going to drop off later this afternoon and into the evening, or through the rest of this afternoon and into the evening. But as we move into our overnight hours and through tomorrow, we are going to see, or we could potentially see those winds pick back up, where the winds could generally be gusting still lighter than today, but they will pick back up. That's important to note. The temperatures out there right now at about 78 degrees. And again, those winds pushing out of the east-northeast. Currently, our gusts are moving at about 16 miles per hour, and our sustained winds, that constant wind, is sustaining at about 10 miles per hour. So we're, with the winds in place, going to continue to see that smoke move from this area to areas locally, and it's going to continue to make those impacts with our sky conditions. So something to watch for if you are in the area as well.
And it looks like we have an updated number there of 2,848 acres, so 48 more acres, according to officials in Riverside County, have now burned, 2848. Gino giving us this shot of one of the choppers there, probably refueled with some more water from either Lake Paris or Mystic Lake, and there may be another water drop. Let's just stick with this picture for a second if we could. And while we look at all that smoke, Star, you made me realize that the CAL FIRE Riverside County, they had put out a drift smoke advisory, just letting people know that the fire is putting off a whole lot of drifting smoke that can be seen and smelt throughout the northeast and southeast portions of Riverside County. So we are talking about Riverside, Jurupa Valley, Menifee, Wildemar, Lake Elsinore. So really, really poor air quality. So we have this winged aircraft, and then we have the chopper above. So this is courtesy of Skyfox. Firefight continues, and let me talk now about the evacuation shelters that are in place, because we have a new location for you if you have small animals. So here we go. If you need somewhere to go, Valley View High School in Moreno Valley is open as an evacuation shelter. This is on Nason Street. Also, San Jacinto Animal Shelter, you can take your small pets there. This is on Grand Avenue. And then added to the list, this is new, Moreno Valley Animal Services is open and ready to take any pets that you may have. Small pets, this is on Ellsworth Street. So they have added to the list there. A lot of people have pets, and given this remote area, there are probably a lot of large animals. We're working to find out if there is a place that you can take those bigger animals, but those are for your small pets. So we have the ground shot, smaller box, upper left, courtesy of Gino Arias there. That's in a neighborhood that is under mandatory evacuation orders. Bigger picture, of course, courtesy of Skyvox, that fixed wing aircraft. We'll see if it does a fire retardant drop here or not. We've seen plenty of those live. We've seen plenty of water drops as well. 48 acres burned, 0% containment. Best news, no injuries, no structures have been lost. We want to keep reporting that. We've been on the air basically since this broke out. This was during the Good Day LA hours that the flames first started on Gilman Springs Road. Then we were reporting 50 acres, then 1,500 acres, then 2,800 acres, and now, as we approach the 4 o'clock hour, 2,848 acres. The body of water in the back, Lake Paris, Mystic Lake, those are the two body resources that crews are able to rely on and able to get more of the hundreds of gallons of water. I need to look up exactly to see how many they're able to drop at one time, but nonetheless, it is a lot of water, and that can help in this firefight. And as we've seen, it is working quite well right now in the fact that we are able to report no structures lost, and we're seeing a whole lot of white smoke. Yes, there are those active flames still on the ridge lines there, but nothing as horrible as we could be in terms of the conditions. Cruising along with Nick and Gino, where are you two headed to right now?
Hey there, Marla. Yeah, we're just walking across this backyard here to try to get a better look at those darker smoke that we saw a little earlier when we checked in with you. Here, we might see some drops right here, actually. You can see the, there's the fixed wing right there. Again, we're waiting to do a drop, but there's some flame right there. Again, moving away from the houses, so that's certainly good to see, but we keep seeing these little hot spots, and that's one thing to keep in mind. Even though we're not seeing as much active flame maybe as we did earlier, as Star mentioned, wind could pick up later, and if there's some hot spots, some embers, it doesn't take much. Certainly a Santa Ana wind likes to reignite that. So they're being really cautious out here of that and keeping these hand crews here battling the hot spots as they're able to. And we may see a drop right here, again, that other side. But again, these two different angles that they're having to battle, and certainly from the ground and from the sky, we've seen, I don't know, 4 or 5 airdrops right now just in the last few minutes. So that's certainly good to see. This one, I believe, is about to drop some more water on the fire over there. Again, what you're looking at, though, you're looking east. That's towards Gilman Springs Road, which is where this fire originated. And certainly that wind pushed it so quickly and made it expand or grow so fast right up to this neighborhood that we're standing in.
Well, let's get some new information if we could. We have on the line now, joining us from CAL FIRE Riverside County, is Tawny Castro. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you are busy. We're last reporting 2,848 acres, 0% containment. Are those numbers up to speed?
Yep, those numbers are still correct. We did have our intel flight fly this fire to get mapping for us, which gave us that 2,848 acres and 0% containment. We do still have several pieces of equipment working this fire from the air and from the ground. As you can see, the terrain makes it a little bit difficult for us to get in there. It's kind of burning up in rocky terrain, but we've got multiple resources from the air fighting this fire, as well as firefighters on the ground getting into those tough spots.
Where is your biggest concern right now?
Well, right now the fire is headed towards the west. It's about 78 degrees out here, and we've got a consistent wind that's pushing this fire in towards the west, towards the city of Moreno Valley. So we're trying to stop it there at those hills before it drops down into the city.
When you talk, can you talk more about the number of resources? I mean, first of all, and I'm sorry I haven't said it thus far, great job so far in this firefight, given the wind out there, the higher temperatures as well, and the fact that we're able to report still no structures lost. That is phenomenal. No injuries to report. How many resources are you throwing out this thing?
So we've got about 40 fire engines out here. We've got water tenders. We've got 2 bulldozers. We've got 7 aircraft. We've also got 7 firefighting hand crews, and those are the ones you see. You know, they've got 15 people to a hand crew, and they're out there with their tools just scraping down to bare dirt. So altogether, when it's all said and done, between fire department resources, our law enforcement partners, we've got almost 300 firefighters out here on the ground fighting this thing right now.
Wow, 300 firefighters under these conditions as well. What do you want people to know who are listening right now? Because we've seen we have a crew in one of these cul-de-sacs that's under mandatory evacuations. He's on La Costa Villa Drive. Most everyone has heeded the call to leave. There are some residents who are staying behind. What do you want them to know?
Well, if your area has been placed under an evacuation order, it's definitely the time for you to go. Gather the things that are essential to you, important documents, and get out as quickly as you can. If you need somewhere to go, Valley View High School in the city of Moreno Valley is open. We do have a care and reception site set up there. They've got everything that you need. If you have animals, you can take them to the Moreno Valley shelter, or you can also take them to the San Jacinto shelter, and they are set up to intake and take care of your animals while you're evacuated. If your area has been placed under an evacuation warning, that's the time for you to get ready to go. That means that there is a serious possibility that could be upgraded at any time to an order. So that is your time to start getting ready and be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
Of course, we still have daylight. We have a few more hours of daylight, Tani, but, you know, these things get even more precarious once the sun sets. Do we have air resources that can fly at night? What does that look like? How does nightfall change the firefight?
But the weather conditions are going to change a little bit this evening, as we see every day as the wind starts to change towards the evening. And then also with the nighttime, our fixed-wing aircraft that drop the fire retardant can't fly. Our helicopters are carted for nighttime flying operations. So you will still hear and potentially see our helicopters out here working, doing water drops. That's not going to stop throughout the night.
Okay, I just want to repeat that. So the helicopters are equipped to fly at night, and they can continue the water drops, but the fixed-winged aircraft are not able to drop with the fire retardant once night sets.
That's correct.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay, very good. For people watching in the warning zones, I've talked about, you know, the 5 Ps. What's important to get in your go bag?
You're going to want to get your prescriptions, any important paperwork, any photographs that are extremely important to you. Anybody can go to our website, Ready for Wildfire, and we've got entire lists, depending on where you live or what your situation is. There are lists there of things that you should always have ready to go. This just helps to remind you and jog your memory of maybe, not forget this or not forget that. It's good to look at those before we're in these situations. That way you're prepared to leave and you're not scrambling and you don't feel like you're going to miss something.
Readyforwildfire.org, great resource. I just hopped on the page. You're right about that. You can learn a lot and get prepared, because at a moment's notice, if you're in a warning zone, that could change to a mandatory order, and you want to be able to be ready. Our live Skyfox pictures are showing, I believe that's Lake Paris, but I know Mystic Lake is also another resource. How crucial is that in the firefight, the fact that these bodies of water are so close by?
Not only just the bodies of water, which is great in helping our helicopters be able to refill and return quickly, but also our proximity to Hemet Ryan Air Attack Base, which is where our air tankers get refilled on the fire retardant. It's right down the street. This is a really fast turnaround for them as well. So we're really fortunate in this situation right now where we've got the tanker base for refilling the retardant, as well as several large bodies of water that our helicopters can refill out of that are in close proximity to this incident.
I love that. We had seen that. I believe I had seen that earlier in our coverage. I just wasn't sure exactly what that was. So that is where the air tankers can refuel for that fire retardant. That's wonderful. How would you grade the firefight right now? And you know, what's it like from behind the scenes for you?
It looks a little bit better than it did a little while ago. So hopefully we keep on that positive path and we can get some containment here.
When do we expect? Will there be? Is there a media staging down below, or can we expect updates from officials officially at some point?
So we do keep our web portal updated. We have an incident fact sheet. If you go to fire.ca.gov, there's an incident fact sheet on there for the Springs incident, and we keep that updated in real time with information on evacuations as well as our equipment numbers, the current situation on the fire, and so that is kept updated as we get information. People can go to the Genesis app that we use for the evacuations where you can see your zone. It's important to know what zone you live in. You can also set up alerts so that if there are any changes to your zone ever for any circumstance, you'll get a notification for that. And then we also update our social media, CAL FIRE RRU on Twitter and Facebook. We update those both in real time with the incident information as it changes.
Right. I love it. You are a wealth of information, and I am on all of those websites, and it's been very helpful as we bring the live coverage here on the Fox Local Stream. Tawny Castro, any final words, or did I forget anything?
Nope. We really appreciate you for covering all this and helping us get all of the information out to the public. It's important. It's the very, very, very beginning of fire season. You know, this is just the beginning, and we need to make sure that we're all familiar with all of the tools that are available to us so that we can be well prepared to any time that an incident like this comes near our home.
Tawny Castro, you are officially Public Information Officer, if I'm not mistaken. Did I get that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Tawny Castro, CAL FIRE Riverside County Public Information Officer. You're excellent at your job. Thanks for informing us here at Fox 11 and those on the Fox Local Stream. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, so we just got the latest information, 48 acres, 0% containment, 300 firefighters, 40 engines, several water tenders. And then it's really nice to know not just the bodies of water down below that are a great resource, but there is the air tanker refueling base where those fixed-winged aircraft can get more fire retardant just like that and more of that fuel so they're able to quickly get down and get back up. Star Harvey, meteorologist, is along the ride with me here in the Fox 11 studios, and that was great news that she said, Star, that it looks a lot better than it did not long ago.
Yes, I absolutely love to hear that. You know, still tracking the winds in the Moreno Valley area. You know, our winds are calm at this point, especially in comparison to some of the top wind gusts reported over the last few hours in the area. So our wind gust across the Moreno Valley region right now, under 20 miles per hour. In fact, the peak gust today, 19 miles per hour. We compare that to yesterday, and yes, they're a little bit stronger. But again, you have to remember this area is in a wind advisory, and that wind advisory lets us know that our winds in this area, sustained winds, do have the potential to move anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour. Right now, we see those sustained winds at 10 miles per hour, so lower than that advisory, which is some good news there. And then our advisory letting us know that we could potentially see those winds gusting as high as 45 miles per hour. So we're just about at half of that as well. In the area, locally, we've seen some top wind gusts reported for areas like Rancho Cucamonga, 66 miles per hour this morning, right around the time that this fire did begin. Also, across the Badger Canyon area, which is close to this region, 62 miles per hour. Jurupa Valley saw some winds across the area, 58 miles per hour. Again, that was just this afternoon. And I do want to touch also on the Highland Springs area. This is also local to where we do have this fire burning. We did see some winds gusting in that area at 57 miles per hour. So just as we did hear the public information officer there state that winds are calming down in the area, our Santa Anas are expected to drop off moving through the rest of this afternoon and into our evening hours. Later tonight and tomorrow, we are potentially going to see those winds pick right back up. And, you know, right now what we're watching, what I see, Marla, is a lot more of that smoke than the actual flames. So, I mean, I'm going to assume that that's some good news there as well.
Yeah, definitely from Sky Fox's perspective, it looks nice. I mean, you see some of the flames underneath that smoke there along the ridge line. No surprise there. Then there's this, our ground camera right there in this neighborhood that's under mandatory evacuation order. Nick Garcia, you are down there on the ground. Getting worse out there?
Yes. I would say it's getting worse, at least for this particular area. We've seen these flames really take off, burn through that brush in a relatively quick amount of time. But I want to point out, you see these intense flames. Just above them is some retardant. Just below, closer to the houses here,
that's right.
Closer to the camera here, is more retardant. But that goes to tell you, just because this retardant line is down, those winds, while they're a little calmer, will carry those embers. And so that's what happened here. It jumped the retardant line right there because of the wind. And now we've got the hand crew. I want to point you a little to the right, Gino. One of the fire engines that we saw stationed by these houses has moved up this dirt road here. And we've seen all of the firefighters get out of there to join the hand crew there to do exactly what they were planning on doing, which is get a handle on the flames from the ground here. Look at how intense that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's burning through some dry fuel there, and you see once it hits something that's really dry and good to burn, you see how intense those flames get. Look at that.
Yeah, and something really important to note as well is that, you know, we are going to see that the fire is going to move uphill faster. You have to remember from a meteorological mindset is that we do see the heat. It's going to rise, or as it begins to rise, it's going to preheat and dry the fuel ahead of the flame. So that's important to note there. And then we are looking at hilly terrain, and that's going to often create natural updrafts that also push that fire around in different locations, but especially uphill.
Yeah, we're watching those flames come right towards us, you know, so that's certainly something we've been keeping an eye on, is just this hilly terrain. And certainly, as Star was mentioning, the flames move faster uphill, or they like to move uphill, and that's what we've been watching happen here, certainly. These flames are just going, and hopefully the crews are able to get a good handle on it, because, again, we're standing in a backyard of one of the homes that has been evacuated here.
Yes, and but with that said, uphill is away from the home. So is that the direction in which the wind, though, is pushing those flames?
Yeah, you know, the wind has been pushing it to the west, but then the concern is to the west is the city of Moreno Valley. So hopefully it doesn't make it to any more homes. But for now, they are being pushed away from the backyard of the home that I'm standing in. Right? We see another truck pulling up more resources.
Yep, yeah. That's what we want to hear. Exactly. And yes, that is good news, the fact that engine made its way there into this steep terrain, to watch closely and to be there, because we know that things can switch on a dime. Nick, just for your knowledge and our viewers as well, we just got an update from CAL FIRE, and now the acreage has jumped to 3,500 acres. So when we hopped on the air with this earlier, it was 50 acres, and now we're at 3,500 acres. The wide shot from Skyfox, the aerial shot, you can see all of that damage, all the charred hillsides left behind, some of that footprint of the fire retardant, of course, the pink stuff there on the hillside. No structures have lost, just these charred hillsides. Nonetheless, it's important to be able to report to you that no structures, no injuries to speak of. So if I'm not mistaken, we are going to thank you, Nick Garcia and Gino Arias, on the ground for your great reporting. Obviously, keep a watch, and you will have more in less than an hour on the Fox 11 News at 5, and then also with me at 6 o'clock. Tonight, meteorologist Star Harvey is monitoring those winds very closely, as there is that high wind advisory that is in place through 6 o'clock tonight. And 6 o'clock? Yep, okay.
High wind advisory and the high wind warning as well.
Okay, so a high wind advisory and a high wind warning we will watch. So we are going to wrap up our coverage now, as it seems like crews are getting a better handle on the Springs fire that's burning in Riverside County in Moreno Valley. I'm Marla Tejas. We really appreciate you hopping on the Fox Local stream for us. We'll have the very latest on Fox 11. We'll see you next time on the stream.
The war where